3 o'clock. We will go ahead and begin the regularly scheduled meeting for the Port of Centralia. I will start with introductions. I'm Commissioner Kyle Markstrom.
I'm Commissioner Julie Shapley.
Peter LeBlanc.
Meeting Port staff.
First item on the agenda for today is approval of today's agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item on the agenda for today is good of the order public comment. This time during the Port Commission meeting is for public comment. This portion of public comment is for non-agenda items. There will be time during the meeting to comment on our agenda items where action will be taken. The Port Commission welcomes and encourages your comments and participation. However, public comment is not the time for the Commission to answer questions. If you have a question and would like a follow-up at a later time, please leave us your contact information. For those attending remotely or those who are unable to attend in person, please submit your written comments to agraber@portofcentralia.com before 2 p.m. the day of meetings. We are lucky to live in a great community where all of us are passionate about making this a great place to live. While we might not all agree on how to achieve that, it is important we recognize we can be passionate about our ideas while also respecting one another. You will have 3 minutes for your comments. When you reach your time limit, I will ask you to wrap up. Please stand at the podium when giving your comment. And if you have a specific records request, please see Port staff so we can get you a form for the information you require. First person we have signed in for public comment today is Jan Banovich. And for the record, please state your name and residence.
Jan Banovich, Centralia. I just want to set the record straight regarding Executive Director Heaton's comment at the last meeting in regard to the ethics complaint and Port imposter page. He said, and I quote, "We explained this previously. It was never explained at an open public meeting other than a brief one-sentence response to Commissioner Lamont stating that a cease and desist letter had been sent. No further information was ever given. If the issues had been addressed, or even if someone from the Port had contacted the person making the ethics complaint and told him the complaint being from a citizen needed to be sent to an outside agency, or if the Port had forwarded it to the proper agency, we would have done things differently. But that wasn't the case. And Director Heaton's reviewing the complaints, knowing they should have been sent to a non-biased outside agency, was, in my opinion, inappropriate. I believe since some of you are friends with the person or people administering the Port imposter page, Director Heaton not only should have apologized to Commissioner Shapley, but also should have apologized to the public for a somewhat erroneous statement and mishandling of the complaints. On another note, I also want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and I hope the new year will bring a more harmonious relationship between the Port and the public. Thank you.
Next person we have signed in for comment is Cynthia Mutch.
Cynthia Mudge from the Chamber, Chehalis. Tomorrow, we're so busy. Tomorrow, our District 20 legislative update is going to happen via Zoom. And Peter Barna works with us to put these together. He does a monthly update starting in January. Tomorrow's update will be kind of review of 2024 and kind of talking about issues percolating already for the next session. And it's at 8 a.m. It's primarily intended for our members, but really if someone really wants to attend, we'll send them the link. I encourage you to attend. I love these sessions for a couple of reasons. One, you get kind of a backstage view of what's going on. They tell you sausage is being made, and that's kind of actually fun because a lot of us don't often read the end results. We don't often get that backstage view of what's happening in Olympia. But also, it's like you're sitting in their office. You can ask questions, and they've been very forthcoming, and it's just a great way to see what all of our representatives are doing. Tomorrow will just be Peter, but usually future sessions involve the others. When I leave, if you want to get the link, definitely anyone in the audience, just give me your business card. I think everyone else has received the information, but I really encourage folks to attend those. Yesterday, we re-welcomed Three Rivers Care. They shut down in 2022 due to flooding. they ended up taking that opportunity to completely renovate their space. And so they did a open house and ribbon cutting yesterday. The first 5 residents are there, happy to be back. And they've just done a beautiful job. And that facility is very much needed. We have plenty of people who need that kind of care here. Then tomorrow is our last event of the year. And it's kind of a combo. It's a ribbon cutting for Light Curve. They took over Rainier over a year ago, but they're kind of having their coming out party now. Ours is just the first. There's going to be more rolling out, and it's going to be nice to kind of fully welcome them into the community. They've been kind of taking it slow, and so now they're full steam ahead. So they're doing a ribbon cutting, and we're also having our annual business after hours. It's at Jeremy's. It'll be a lot of fun, ugly sweater contest, a whole bit. So we actually have a lot going on tomorrow, and we look forward to people there and hopefully seeing you at the legislative session tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Thank you. That's everybody who's signed in. Is there anybody else in attendance that would like to provide public comment at this time? I will close public comment. Next item on the agenda for today is approval of the minutes for our December 4th regular meeting.
Move to approve the minutes of the December 4th regular meeting.
I second.
Here's a motion and a second. Is there any further commission discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries 3-0.
You have general fund warrants and vouchers 24101 through 24126, aggregate amount $64,928.48.
I move to approve warrants 24101 through 24126 in the aggregate amount of $64,928.48.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve warrants. Is there any further commission discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries 3-0. On to new business.
Commissioners, the first item we have before you is pay estimate number 1 for Sterling Green Crushing. This is the work that was bid earlier this fall. They've been making time on it as weather permits. The amount requested this time, less retainage, $99,351.93. It's been reviewed by the port civil engineer. He concurs payment is due. I've reviewed the work. They're doing a good job and recommend your payment.
Move to approve pay estimate 1 for $99,351.93.
I second.
There is a motion and a second to approve the estimate. Are there any members of the public in attendance today that would like to provide public comment on this agenda item? Hearing none, I will close public comment. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further commission discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 3-0.
The next item we had here, we're going to ask that you table till the next meeting. Where Scarcell has done the work they need to do to be released from their bond. They're trying to get free and get on the bidding season for next year. But they have one subcontractor, oddly the same one that Midway has, that has not finished their work. So Scarcell is leaning hard on them to get that done. So it'll be in front of you for your next meeting.
Okay.
So, but it's certainly nothing that Scarcell did. They've completed everything they need to, and we're ready to accept the project once that's completed.
Do we need a motion to table that or anything?
Not today, but it was listed on your agenda. I wanted you to understand what was going on, and it'll be before you next time. Just a couple of quick things for you. In your packets is a letter that was issued yesterday by Lewis County Board of County Commissioners. There's been considerable discussion around this co-management of the unincorporated urban growth areas, the UGAs. The original UGA interlocal agreement was negotiated back in 2003, 2004 by the port. We were able to work with the county at that time and the city so that they were able to find a way to coexist, and at the same time see that both of their financial needs were met. So currently the way and I'm oversimplifying, there's about 20 pages of it, but right now the city receives any permitting fees that would come in, and they have been substantial. They also administer zoning in the UGA the same way they would in the city, so that someday when an annex is in, it should be seamless. There shouldn't be any, this street's 3 feet wider than that one. So city street standards have been applied. There's been considerable consternation between the city and the county over the last few years over this. It's tough to administer, and as we grow, I'm sure it's getting tougher. There was a bill they cite that was passed in the last legislature. How much of a threat that is, I don't know. They're working through that, but basically. The county's concern is that they can't process residential subdivisions fast enough to avoid being fined for not meeting time requirements. This is the first step. They had a meeting today at 1:00. I caught about 10 minutes of it. It was on Zoom, kind of short notice, but they're having another one on January. First listen here, but I believe it's January 20th. I will get that.
15th. Yeah.
And effective February 1st, 2025, there will be a moratorium on raw residential land divisions in the UGA, not only in Centralia, but all through Lewis County. So it's in every city in the county's interest to work this out. Hope is they all get together at the Plan Growth Committee and make the tweaks they need to accommodate the new law and move forward. But we'll keep you apprised of that as it goes. But ultimately, it's the county's decision with various cities, 9 of them, I guess. So,
Does this interlocal agreement expiring without a new one in place, do you anticipate that adversely affecting any of the current work that we have in process?
no, it will not adversely affect anything the port's working on. We're vested.
Okay.
Most of those things. There's a lot of scenarios being bantered about, and I just think it's too early to really take any of them very seriously. I've heard that the notion is that everyone will annex in at once, even if they did, it would take the city 5 years to process it, assuming the county didn't appeal it with their boundary review board, which they are known to do. So it's not a simple, straightforward thing. It was 30 years ago to just annex in the city. It's an ordeal. It will take a minimum of a year. So I know that the county and talking, I haven't spoke to the county planners, but speaking to city planners, they're very desirous to get it worked out and not hold anybody up and cost money. However, there has been an absolute flux of residential subdivisions in the last 3 weeks being filed with the city of Centralia, and we expect to see more people trying to get ahead of it. So we are reviewing them as they come, and exciting. There's some nice potential residential neighborhoods. One being on the end of Russell Road, a 13 unit, I believe it's 13 unit down there. Which would be nice. We need more housing.
Yep, always. They're good. Anything else from staff?
Just an update, Beacon, we are, billing supply, we're getting very close, with them. It's been a struggle working through permitting for them, not with the port, but getting through the other portions of it. They're about there. Part of the struggle has been on their side. They're spread from East Coast to West Coast and, rarely in the same room together. So that slows things down, but things are progressing. Once we believe their utility plan is straightened out here to the city's satisfaction, then they should be in for permits and moving forward. So Winco sign, currently Winco is the lead on permitting on that, moving through, and the last discussion we had Monday, there are no issues. They continue to move forward. So.
Cool. Good.
He did not give me an opening date on Monday.
I know everybody wants to know when it's gonna.
You gotta work for Winco to know that. So
I suspect they don't even know that
Not
it will be
not
when
likely.
it's ready.
Right.
Okay, we will move on to commissioner reports. Commissioner Shapley?
Excuse me. With this being the last port meeting of 2024, I'd like to give a brief overview of a very busy year. The port and the community saw the culmination of many years of hard work, negotiations, planning, permitting, and cooperation with the completion of the U Street extension and the I-5 Mellon Street connector. Midway Underground did a great job with the U Street extension, as well as Garcella Brothers on completing the I-5 Mellon Street connector on time in a very tight construction window. One of the highlights of 2024 was seeing the vision of Centralia Station by previous port commissioners become a reality. On January 17th, we commissioners approved the purchase and sale agreement with Winco Foods for $2.4 million for the property that now has the new Winco building being constructed on it. As the anticipation and excitement increase surrounding Winco and Centralia Station, other businesses are showing great interest in location here to Centralia. On July 17th, we commissioners approved the sale of property at Centralia Station to Coal Valley Partners for $870,000. Without the forethought and vision of past commissioners, Centralia Station wouldn't exist. One of those commissioners was Art Lehman. To honor Commissioner Lehman, the new I-5 Street connector ramp was named Art Lehman Drive. On June 20th, the port hosted a dedication and reception for Art's family and the public on the Centralia Station site. Most of the attention this year was centered around Park 3's Centralia Station. However, there was a lot of business activity in Park 1 and Park 2. In January, the Port Commissioners approved 2 lease agreements, the first of which was a lease renewal of 3609 and 3639 Galvin Road with Inland Environmental, which will yield $206,000 in lease revenue. A new lease was approved for 2000 North Park Drive with Beacon Building Supply, which represents $1.67 million in lease revenue. On January 17th, the Washington State Auditor's Office presented the commissioners and the public with the results of the 2020 and 2022 audit. The auditor stated that the port complied with all applicable state laws and regulations, its own policies, and provided controls over the safeguarding of public resources. The state auditors had no findings with the port's financial reports and financial statements. This audit is the 24th clean audit in which no findings were found, which is due in huge part to Amy and Director Heaton's meticulous record keeping and adherence to the RCWs that apply to the port. So thank you very, very much. On November 20th, the Port Commission adopted the final budget for 2025. The port is very financially stable and well-positioned for the future. I want to thank Director Heaton, Amy, Aaron, Caitlin, Noel, and Roberto for all the hard work they do for the port and the community. The port is a success because of each of you. Also, I want to thank Commissioner Markstrom and Commissioner Lohmann for serving the public. I think I can speak for all of us here at the port that we eagerly are looking forward to 2025 and the exciting, prosperous future of the port and the community. Thank you and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Commissioner Lamont?
All right. Since our last meeting, I attended a city council meeting. I just wanted the hot topic of the evening at that meeting was the nitrate migration. And I just wanted to bring it up to us because we do have a city well out here, and I don't know if that affects that well, if it's going to affect our customers. Just something for us to keep an eye on. It's not something that we have any real control over, but could be an issue. I also attended a county commissioner meeting. And I did talk for a few minutes with the public works director about Harrison Avenue and the Sandra Avenue interchange. I have been recently made aware of a couple of issues that I may have made some faux pas in what I do here. And one was the use of personal email for business for the port. And I haven't rectified all that yet, but it's my intent that I do not use personal email. And I was sent an email and I responded to it. I shouldn't have. There was also, it was brought to my attention about advertising for politics on port property. And we had a public event in June, and I happened to drive my truck there, and I had a sign on the side of my truck. And a picture was taken, and that was brought to my attention. I did call the PDC and talk with them about it. And their thought was that I had not violated anything with that action. So, and they do have a regulation, which I haven't gone and looked at, but the person I spoke with told me that was a fairly common question. Also, let's see, what are we at? Also, it says in our personnel policy that when we do the annual review of the director, which we did at the last meeting in executive session, that we have a report out on that. So just for future, we might look at doing a report out. I had something else that came up earlier in the year that it's just kind of been bothering me. And I did bring up on the Centralia Station project about paying for type 3 barricades that were incorrectly installed. And Commissioner Shapley gave a good briefing on the installation of type 3 barricades. And I wondered if anybody else in this room had one of these cards. That's a state issued traffic control supervisor card. There's certain requirements that you take to get this card. I've held one of these cards since '97. I taught classes to labor and industries inspectors, to WashDOT inspectors, to contractor personnel on the proper usage of traffic control devices in work using the MUTCD, the NCHRP 350 reports. So, I mean, I feel like my ability was called into question, so I just wanted to put that out there that I am certified and qualified by the state of Washington to talk on the subject.
Just really quick, or do you want to finish?
What's that?
Do you mind if I speak on that subject, or do you want to finish?
No, that's fine. Yeah, let's talk about it.
I think it's important to recognize that any elected official probably has skills or certifications that could pertain to the operations of any said agency that they are elected to serve. Certainly there's things that I'm an expert in that I could wade into Kyle's office and try to do. And same thing with Commissioner Shapley. I think it's really important that we recognize that we're elected officials and that we're not here to run the day-to-day operations. There's clear guidance on that and what our roles are provided by the Municipal Research Center, and would encourage you to read those.
But it is up to us to make sure that things are done in a proper way, because we approve those actions.
Through policy
Yeah.
and through the staff that we hire.
In this particular case, it's a liability issue.
It's only a liability
If you have an
because
asset.
you've said it's a liability, and our legal counsel has advised us on that. You're creating liability by saying it's a liability, just so we're clear.
Commissioners, for the record, I did take your concerns into consideration. And not being a licensed engineer, just like you, I sent it to a licensed engineer who reviewed it, said it wasn't an issue because it's not a public street, it's a driveway. So with that, I reviewed it with Port Council. We didn't believe we were in any issue. The city engineer didn't raise it to me. DOT didn't raise it to me. And so our goal has just been to continue to move down the project and get it done. So your question was noted and was absolutely referred on to the port civil engineer, which he responded to it.
And may I add, excuse me,
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
you had said that I gave a report. I was reading the engineer's report on the question. I am not an official on this. I am not an engineer. I was reading his report concerning your concerns.
I consider myself a pretty good mechanic, and I am not gonna wait into our maintenance shop.
No,
And try to tell our
I-
mechanics how to work on the tractors.
I totally agree with
I
you.
think it's just really important we stay focused on the work that we're supposed to do.
No, I totally agree. Everyone sitting at this table has an area of expertise, and we should use that area of expertise. I mean, so what we're saying right here is that they are correctly installed. You know, that's what the board's saying. Anyway, I don't really want to get into that. I just wanted to lay out what my qualifications.
You are an expert in that,
So,
you got a car.
I mean, if I had a machinist thing, I would go to you. If I had a health issue, I would go to Commissioner Chaplin. So anyway, that was my piece on that. And I think that anyway, one other thing, since we're under new business, our next meeting should technically fall on January
Yeah,
1st.
I was gonna cover that in my.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll wait and talk about that depending on what you say. So thank you very much.
Yep. As far as the report goes, I don't have any committee reports, to report. Do want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. If you haven't had a chance yet, go check out the Horse Lights. It looks really great this year. And, but while you do it, think about Lee Combs, Lee, a former mayor in Centralia and community icon, passed away recently and was really involved in Boris Lights and many things around the community. So encourage you to drive through Boris Lights, think about Lee and the legacy that he left, and enjoy it with your family. I know we always take my daughter and the nieces and nephews, and they enjoy getting to hang out the windows and look at all the lights. So that's always a lot of fun. As Commissioner Lamont mentioned, our next regularly scheduled meeting would land on the 1st of January. So I would propose that we cancel that meeting, have staff send that notice out, and we will resume following regularly scheduled meeting in January. If something comes up that's urgent, please let us know and we can schedule a special meeting if needed.
Yeah, this happens once every 7 years. And we reviewed it. There's made sure anything that had to be paid was before you today. And in the past, we've typically just gone to the next regular meeting. Otherwise, it'd just be a week apart.
Yeah.
So.
Great. Okay, so look forward to that cancellation going out.
Thank you.
Anything else? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0. Thanks for tuning in.